Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Kupijana Vallabha Girivaradari Kupijana Vallabha Girivaradari Yashodanandana Braja Janaranjana. Can you play cartels, please? Yashodanandana Braja Janaranjana. Yamuna Tira Vanachari Yamuna Tira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Bhakti Swami Prabhupada ki jai. Jai Vishnupada Paramahamsa Parivajrakacharya Ashtotra Shata Shri Srimad Divine Grace Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur Prabhupada ki jai. Ananta Koti Vaishnav Vrinda ki jai. Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur ki jai. Prem Sikaho Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivas Adi Gauda Bhakta Vrinda ki jai. Shri Shri Radha Krishna Gopi Gopinath Shyamakund Radha Kund Giri Govardhan ki jai. Vrindavan Dham ki jai. Navadvip Dham ki jai. Ganga Yamuna Mai ki jai. Tulsi Maharani ki jai. Bhakti Devi ki jai. Samaveta Bhakta Vrinda ki jai. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to Sri Guru and Shri Gauranga. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. This one we're reading from the Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 4, titled Creation of the Fourth Order, Chapter 30, the Activities of the Prachetas, text 42. Namaha Samaya Shuddhaya Purushaya Varaya Cha Vasudevaya Satvaya Tubhyam Bhagavate Namaha. Nama Samaya Shuddhaya Purushaya Paraya Cha Vasudevaya Satvaya Tubhyam Bhagavate Namaha. Nama Samaya Shuddhaya Purushaya Paraya Cha Vasudevaya Satvaya Tubhyam Bhagavate Namaha. Nama Samaya Shuddhaya Purushaya Paraya Cha Vasudevaya Satvaya Tubhyam Bhagavate Namaha. Namaha. We offer our respectful obeisances. Samaya, who is equal to everyone. Shuddhaya, who is never contaminated by sinful activities. Purushaya, under the Supreme Person. Paraya, transcendental. Cha, also. Vasudevaya, living everywhere. Satvaya, who is in the transcendental position. Tubhyam, unto you. Bhagavate, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Namaha, obeisances. Translation and commentary by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. Dear Lord, you have no enemies or friends. Therefore, you are equal to everyone. You cannot be contaminated by sinful activities, and your transcendental form is always beyond the material creation. You are the Supreme Personality of Godhead because you remain everywhere within all existence. You are consequently known as Vasudev. We offer our respectful obeisances. We offer you our respectful obeisances. Purport. The Supreme Personality of Godhead is known as Vasudev because he lives everywhere. The word Vas means to live. As stated in Brahma Samhita, Ekyopasaurachayitam Jagadandakotim, the Lord, through his plenary portion, enters into each and every universe to create the material manifestation. He also enters into each and every heart and all living entities, and into each and every atom also. Paramanu Chayantarastam. Because the Supreme Lord lives everywhere, he is known as Vasudev. Although he lives everywhere within the material world, he is not contaminated by the modes of nature. The Lord is therefore described in Ishopanishad as Papa Vidham. He is never contaminated by the modes of material nature. When the Lord descends on this planet, he acts in many ways. He kills demons and performs acts not sanctioned by the Vedic principles. That is, acts considered sinful. Even though he acts in such a way, he is never contaminated by his action. He is therefore described herein as Shuddha, meaning always free from contamination. The Lord is also Sama, equal to everyone. In this regard, he states in Bhagavad Gita, chapter 9, text 29, Samoham sarvabhuteshu name dveshosti na priyaha. The Lord has no one as his friend or enemy, and he is equal to everyone. The word Satvaya indicates that the form of the Lord is not material. It is Satchidananda Vigraha. Ishvara Parama Krishna Satchidananda Vigraha. His body is different from our material bodies. One should not think that the Supreme Personality of Godhead has a material body like ours. Om Meganitavedandasya Gananjana Shalakaya Chakshulan Maditam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Mukam Karidvachalam Pangam Langaite Girim Yakripatamaham Vande Shri Gurun Denitarinam Vancha Kapaduribishta Kripa Sindhu Bievacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nid Shri Advaita Gadadhar Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Translation again. Dear Lord, you have no enemies or friends. Therefore, you are equal to everyone. You cannot be contaminated by sinful activities, and your transcendental form is always beyond the material creation. You are the Supreme Personality of Godhead because you remain everywhere within all existence. You are consequently known as Vasudev. We offer you our respectful obeisances. So, in the early days of ISKCON in Los Angeles, devotees would regularly go to Griffin Park in Los Angeles. They don't go there so much, huh, anymore? Not really. Dead park now. So yeah, they used to go there and they would do Harinam there, book distribution. You would see there's some pictures there of Vishnu Jan Swami, and they're doing these puppet shows and all different types of things. So devotees would also bring their lunch out there, and there would be a bunch of people there who I guess also needed lunch, so they would start distributing their lunch to all these people. And then, they wouldn't have much themselves, or maybe not anything left. So then Prabhupada was told about this. Srila Prabhupada was there. He spent some months there in Los Angeles. Of course, he spent a lot of time there, but so he's told about this, and Prabhupada said, "Oh, well, that's nice that you want to distribute. That's good." He said, "But you could distribute, make something on the side for these people, so the devotees, they also need their lunch." And then Prabhupada said, "Charity starts at home. Charity starts at home." So. So yeah, part of being Krishna conscious, and part of trying to be Krishna conscious and trying to be a servant of the servant of the servant is that we realize that Krishna is everywhere, and as Prabhupada says in the 7th canto, he says that a devotee in a purport, 7th canto, 5th chapter, text 12, I think, in the purport, he says that just as Krishna, he doesn't have friends and enemies, as is being stated here in this purport, the devotees also do not. They're equally disposed towards everyone, and therefore they try to preach Krishna consciousness. So it's a natural urge, you could say, that develops, spiritual urge. But yeah, as Prabhupada said, charity starts at home. And therefore, what I'm getting at is that devotees should be very enthusiastic, and many devotees are all over the world. There's a lot going on in ISKCON, right? So many lectures are being given. right? Just look at that SPC, GBC, whatever, however that is, strategic planning. You know, so many lectures are just pumping out, you know, this person, that person, and this from this part of the world, that part of the world, and devotees are busy speaking about Krishna all over the world. Great. Temples, right? Temples are popping up in India. So many of them, and all over the world. I saw this beautiful picture last night of a temple. Not sure what it seemed like it was in, I don't know, Ukraine or Russia or somewhere, but Gopal Krishna Goswami and Lokanath Swami were visiting there, but very artistic, you know, very colorful and artistic. Some devotees from Hungary, they have really good, you know, devotee artists over there, but they were painting and decorating the temple. So yeah, temples are going up, books are being distributed, so much is going on. Pots are being washed, right? So yeah, there's a lot of enthusiasm going on, which is great. You know, this is necessary. But the foundation of all of the enthusiasm by which all of these activities are going on, there has to be a very strong foundation, and that strong foundation is hearing and chanting about Krishna, right? Chanting one's japa as nice as they can, you know, reading Srila Prabhupada's books, and the morning program, having a very strong morning program, evening program, having this is the foundation by which now someone may be able to continue with their enthusiasm to a particular degree for some time, and in some ways it may be real, right, their enthusiasm. But then from another perspective, the enthusiasm may just be shadow enthusiasm, or you could say maybe even false enthusiasm. It doesn't have a real, it doesn't have real substance to it. For example, Srila Prabhupada, he says in Nectar of Instruction, great, wonderful book, one of my favorite books, I think. But he says in the purport, text 3, in the purport he says, Utsaha nishchaya tat karma bhavartanat. So that's, we should be enthusiastic, confident, patient. And so he says in this purport, he says, endeavor, first of all, he says earlier in the purport, bhakti means action, means engaging in Krishna service. But then he says here later, says endeavor executed with intelligence in Krishna consciousness is called utsaha, or enthusiasm. So there's endeavor, okay, and then, but that endeavor has to be executed with intelligence. It has to be executed with intelligence. It can't just be endeavor. The endeavor has to be executed with intelligence. And not only does endeavor have to be executed with intelligence, but it has to be in Krishna consciousness. And that is utsaha, or enthusiasm. So it doesn't mean, oh, I'm just endeavoring, but I'm not using my intelligence. And I'm not Krishna conscious. Well, is it really enthusiasm? Might just be the mode of passion. Might just be shadow enthusiasm, false enthusiasm, foolish enthusiasm. Sorry, but so for example, and Prabhupada also says here, it says, he says earlier in the purport, he says, in all phases of life, one has to perform devotional activities under the direction of the spiritual master in order to attain perfection in bhakti yoga. So we have to not only be endeavoring in Krishna consciousness with intelligence in Krishna consciousness, but aside from that, in all phases of life, one has to perform these activities under the direction of the spiritual master to attain perfection. in Bhakti Yoga. So, in other words, we need guidance in all phases of life. And sometimes the activities that a person may engage in, we may engage in, or the devotees may engage in, it may be misdirected. Now, for example, here's an example. So someone may say, yes, I want to preach, I want to spread Krishna consciousness, I want to distribute books. That's a great desire, but it has to be done intelligently and in Krishna consciousness. But yes, I want to do this, I want to do this. So let me go to a local rave. Now, a person, some people, unfortunately, maybe devotees who joined, before they joined, they had addiction to raves. Now, rave is where they play techno music and usually take ecstasy. Starts at midnight, goes all night. They're dancing, right? Now, for some people, it's like, oh, rave, we have no desire. There's no desire there. But for some, there's people who join this movement from all different types of backgrounds. So let's say that there was a person who was very addicted to raves. They just loved it, techno music and dancing and, taking that ecstasy and getting into the whole mood and mode of that place. So they think, hey, yeah. And then they joined and, they're living in the ashram or they're whatever. And they say, yeah, I'm going to go to the rave and distribute books, right? But that's if they're addicted to it and they have still have a taste for it and they have a strong urge to do it, then they shouldn't go. They should go, okay, I want to distribute books, but let me go to La Jolla. Let me go to Balboa Park. Let me go to a place that that's going to be good for my Krishna consciousness. And if they just act out of that enthusiasm, and not in an intelligent way, not really being Krishna conscious, not under the direction of devotees, then it's not real enthusiasm, and they can't really continue with that program. So we have to endeavor intelligently in Krishna consciousness, and that is enthusiasm. And if sometimes we're not sure, that's the that's the beauty of a devotee association, is that they help us, right? Vaishnavas are merciful; they help us. So yeah, this chair. So devotees by nature, yeah, they're equally disposed towards others. They understand that people need Krishna consciousness, and therefore they try to give Krishna consciousness. But understanding Krishna is everywhere. But again, they need to have a strong foundation, sadhana bhakti, morning program. And aside from having a strong foundation, we need to engage intelligently in Krishna consciousness in our endeavors. And then, under the direction of the spiritual master and his associates, we'll be able to attain perfection in Bhakti Yoga. And of course, like we had one Bhakta Chris. Not maybe Chris is listening now, but not this Chris. There's so many Bhakta Chris's because Chris is quite a common name. But we had one Bhakta Chris, and they're like, "Oh, which Chris? Chris Cordone, Chris O." Chris in the military, oh, redhead Chris, which Chris are you talking about? Yeah, little Chris, which one are you talking about? So, there was one Chris many, many years ago. He was invited by devotees to a rainbow gathering. We used to go there to those things, but so they invited him. But anyways, unfortunately, they went there and they're going to chant and engage in activities and this and that, trying to spread Krishna consciousness and then, Chris kind of like wanders off. Like everybody's camping. It's out in the woods and stuff. There's a lot of, smoking a lot of ganja there, right? Doing other stuff. So Chris kind of wanders off, and then all of a sudden, it's unfortunate actually, but he's off smoking ganja with these people. He went with the devotee, went with the brahmacharis here. He's out smoking, and then the devotees. So I guess they didn't know he had such a strong leaning. But now these things may not, like these things, these are certain examples, whatever the rave or the rainbow gathering, and maybe we shouldn't go if we have certain attachments or lingering attachments for these things. But we could, these are certain examples, but we could apply this principle to so many aspects of our life. That, okay, what I'm doing is what I'm doing right now, you get the idea, intelligent? Is it Krishna conscious? Is it, what is going to be the future for my spiritual life if I'm going down this road? And it may be a very small thing, on a daily basis, on a weekly basis, on a monthly basis, or it may be one choice or one decision we make, right, in our lives. I mean, people make one or two decisions in their life, and I mean, they have to deal with the consequences the rest of their life. I mean, just like people, they have children. I mean, sometimes they plan to have children, sometimes they don't. But if someone goes through the whole process of having a child and actually actually lets the child be born, that's a whole, that's a decision that was made, and it's a lifetime reaction, something. So although so much of our lives, daily, weekly, monthly, little choices, they seem like small choices, but they actually make a difference in the long term. So Prabhupada said we should be intelligent and be careful. Careful means intelligent. So also, as it's being stated here, this idea of the Lord has no enemies or friends. He's everywhere, in transcendental form. So in the 7th canto of the Srimad Bhagavatam, chapter 5, Prahlad, the saintly son of Hiranyakashipu, there's a nice, beautiful verse, 7.5.11, text 11. So I'll just read that. It says, Prahlad Maharaj replied, so these are Shanda and Amarka, right, the two Gurukul teachers, demonic teachers. They're saying, they're trying to train him up, that'd be a good, demon. Prahlad Maharaj replied, so they're asking, oh, best of your family, this is text 10, oh, best of your family, has this pollution of your intelligence brought about by you or by the enemies? Have you somehow spoiled your intelligence, or have the enemies? Who are the enemies? The Vaishnavas. That's what they're thinking. We are all your teachers and are very eager to hear about this. Please tell us the truth. So, purport. Prahlad Maharaj's teachers were astonished that a small boy could speak such exalted Vaishnava philosophy. Therefore they inquired about the Vaishnavas who stealthily, secretly, taught it to him, in order that these Vaishnavas might be arrested and killed in the presence of Prahlad's father, Hiranyakashipu. So this is text 11. Prahlad Maharaj replied, let me offer my respectful obeisances unto the Supreme Personality of Godhead, whose external energy has created the distinctions of my friend, my enemy, by diluting the intelligence of men. Indeed, I am now actually experiencing this, although I have previously heard of it from authoritative sources. I'll just read some of the purport. As stated in Bhagavad Gita 5.18, Vidya Vinaya Sampane Brahmane Gavahastani Shuni Chaiva Svapake Cha Pandita Samadarshana. The humble sage, by virtue of true knowledge, sees with equal vision a learned and gentle Brahmin, a cow, an elephant, a dog, and a dog-eater, outcast. Pandita, those who are actually learned, the equipoise, advanced devotees, have full knowledge of everything, do not see any living entity as an enemy or friend. Instead, with broader vision, they see that everyone is part of Krishna, as confirmed by Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Jivara Swarup Hoy Krishna Nityadas. Every living entity being part of the Supreme Lord is meant to serve the Lord, just as every part of the body is meant to serve the whole body. As servants of the Supreme Lord, all living entities are one. But a Vaishnava, because of his natural humility, addresses every other living entity as Prabhu. A Vaishnava sees other servants to be so advanced that he has much to learn from them. That's an important point. So, I don't have anything to learn from this, Prabhu. But we should think, I could learn from any Prabhu, any devotee, because it's a fact. We can. We should. Just like Prabhupada give the example that a traveling mendicant travels through town, and he doesn't think very high of himself. I'm just trying to repeat the message of Krishna, and I'm just a fallen soul, and by the mercy of my spiritual master, I'm able to try to do a little service. He's thinking lowly, thinking himself, that way. But then the devotees or the people he's going to meet in the next town, they're thinking, oh, this person's coming. We could learn so much from them. He's such a great, we could get so much instructions from him. So on both sides, they're both humble. So it's not that the people in the town are thinking, oh, what is this person, what can he teach me, and I know so much, and all that. Or it's not that the person who's coming to town, oh yeah, I'm so great. So in this way it actually works, it works, the whole system. Although everyone is a servant of the Lord, one Vaishnava servant, because of humility, sees another servant as his master. Understanding of the master begins from understanding the spiritual master. Yasya prasada bhagavat prasada, yasya prasada nakati katopi. By the mercy of the spiritual master, one receives the benediction of Krishna. Without the grace of the spiritual master, one cannot make any advancement. Sakshadaritvena samasta shastra. The spiritual master is to be honored as much as the Supreme Lord because he is the most confidential servitor of the Lord. This is acknowledged in all revealed scriptures and followed by all authorities. Therefore, I offer my respectful obeisances under the lotus feet of such a spiritual master who is a bona fide representative of Sri Hari Krishna. The spiritual master, the servant of God, is engaged in the most confidential service of the Lord, namely, delivering all conditioned souls from the clutches of Maya, in which one thinks, this person is my enemy, and that one is my friend. Actually, the Supreme Personality of God is the friend of all living entities, and all living entities are eternal servants of the Supreme Lord. Oneness is possible through this understanding, not through artificially thinking that every one of us is God or equal to God. The true understanding is that God is the Supreme Master and that all of us are servants of the Supreme Lord and are therefore on the same platform. This has already been taught to Prahlad Maharaj by his spiritual master Narada, but Prahlad was nonetheless surprised by how a bewildered soul thinks one person is enemy and another his friend. As long as one adheres to the philosophy of duality, thinking one person a friend and another an enemy, he should be understood to be in the clutches of Maya. So, the Mayavadi philosopher thinks that all living entities are God and are therefore one is also mistaken. No one is equal to God. The servant cannot be equal to the master. According to the Vaishnava philosophy, the master is one, and the servants are also one. But the distinction between the master and the servant must continue even in the liberated stage. In the conditioned stage, we think that some living beings are our friends, whereas others are enemies, and thus we are in duality. In the liberated stage, however, the conception is that God is the master, and that all living entities, being servants of God, are one. So, Shanda and Marcus said, oh, who's teaching you that have the enemies infiltrated? And Prahlad Maharaj is saying, you guys are in Maya. Prahlad Maharaj is saying, let me offer my obeisances to Krishna, whose external energy, the distinction, my friend, my enemy, is diluting the intelligence of men. So it's actually a worldwide problem, or a universal problem. This idea, all the absorption in in these dualities, like we were discussing the other day. This ism, that ism, prejudice based on certain isms, classism, ageism, racism, sexism, this ism, that ism. And it's actually these conceptions that are like fueling the so much ignorance. Of course, it's born out of ignorance, it's fueling a lot of suffering, actually. So devotees are meant to be transcendental to all this, understanding Krishna is everywhere, and therefore eager to spread Krishna consciousness. And again, charity starts at home. So if we're feeling these types of, prejudice in the ashram, how are we supposed to extend ourselves outside of the ashram? Because it's not that when one joins a spiritual movement such as ISKCON, it automatically goes away. It goes on and on and on and on, and unfortunately will go on and on and on. But at least for ourselves, we could try to not fall into that trap and be transcendental to it. And this is the best thing we could do, because having the right mood or being Krishna conscious is uplifting for ourselves, for the ashram here, for our trying to spread Krishna consciousness towards others, and also on a worldwide ISKCON level. There's a lot more, as Prabhupada would say, love and cooperation going on, rather than hatred or envy or too much absorption. And hey, I like this guru, I don't like that guru, and things like that. I like whatever. It could get a little strange sometimes. So yeah, better we try to be a follow Prahlad Maharaj, who's right. We're going to be celebrating soon their Singadev Chaturdasi, so hopefully, yeah. All right, does anybody have any questions or comments from the here in person, or yes, Rajendra Nanaprabhu?
Yes, I have a question.
Okay, we'll just 1 minute, and then we'll.
Yes, I can wait, Prabhu.
All right.
Hare Krishna. Very nice class, very nice topics for consideration.
Thank you.
The last thing, if we don't like or we like and we act accordingly, you were saying that discrimination, definition discrimination. Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur said that to the degree we maintain this mentality that I like this or I don't like that, to that degree we are separated from Krishna. And then when you were talking about intelligence, endeavor intelligence in Krishna consciousness. So, and you were trying to differentiate between shadow enthusiasm and genuine enthusiasm. So, one aspect that can be brought in thinking about it, discussing it, is the modes. Because in the mode of passion, you can have all kinds of intelligence, and you can think of so many ways in which things are done for the results. But Krishna consciousness, that third aspect, is supposed to be above the modes. At least we can understand Krishna consciousness means selfless service for the pleasure of the Lord, wholly and solely. Whereas in the mode of passion, what's the root? We're thinking about what we want, what we like, what we can control, like that. So often we engage in, your spiritual master was given the instruction by Prabhupada, the answer, will our movement continue? Intelligence and organization. So organization, intelligence, both. And both of them can either be in Krishna consciousness under the guidance of the spiritual master, or they can be under the modes. And even when one is trying to please the spiritual master, if the modes are impacting them, influencing them, although we can dovetail these things, there will be some lessons involved for purification to realize that no, this isn't the actual secret in and of itself.
Mm-hmm.
It's actually the last part, which is the most important part, which was what his foundation was, chanting 16 rounds, following the regular principles. If you have that, like Prabhupada talked about managers, he said, they're writing me with so many problems. So from this I can understand they're either not chanting the rounds and or they're not following the principles. So when the essence of Krishna consciousness is there, then that intelligence becomes transcendental, the endeavor becomes transcendental, and those plans and your leadership will actually impact the hearts of others. It will manifest, because we're not the doer, we're just instruments. It can manifest the Lord's desire, the desire of the spiritual master, and then Krishna consciousness will spread.
Yeah. Yeah, great points. Thank you. Yeah, there's, because, yeah, naturally, devotees, they want some results for Krishna. Like, okay, when someone goes on a book distribute, they're going out and they want to distribute some books. They want to try to do the best they can. But like you're saying, like the means should be, you have to be careful, because if the means by which we're doing certain activities, wanting to please Krishna or get certain results for the pleasure of Krishna and the devotees, but we have to be careful that it's not infected by the modes. Like I'm thinking of this, it has to be at least Sattva Gun. I'm thinking of this devotee. I mean, he was a good book distributor. His mind works very quick and very sharp, and he's a good devotee. But somehow or other, he was a good book distributor, and funny and this and that. But then, I mean, he started they started getting like weird stuff, which I thought, I had full conviction it's just not pleasing to Srila Prabhupada and not representing our movement properly. But what they would do is they would be out distributing books, and specifically, it wasn't like it would just kind of manifest, but specifically they had in their mind, yes, I'm going to flirt with women to distribute books. And they were doing that. Complimenting this. I don't know the details, and I don't want to know the details, but gross. It's actually completely gross. But that was a tactic that they were using, flirting with women, so they would buy a book, and it worked. But it's weird, anyways, who knows, but I don't know. Who knows where they are? I think because generally the mode of ignorance breeds the mode of ignorance. That's what happens. So, you kind of start doing weirder things. So, but it is a common thing. Even these people who sell, Greenpeace and blah, blah, blah. I know some friends who work, and they also use those tactics, men and women. They use those tactics to, give some charity to the, poor, and then they're flirting with them, so. Yeah, sex sells. So, but the endeavor has to be intelligent, at least has to be mode of goodness. And none of this, so, anyways, thought of. All right, Ravi, and then afterwards we'll have Vijay Krishna. Prabhu.
Hare Krishna. Thank you for the nice class.
Thank you.
I was actually also discussing about this point with my other devotees. So some of the points which I come across was that one has, as you mentioned, right, one has to be intelligent, and he needs to be humble that he has this shortcomings in life, and he needs to work upon them. And at the same time, we were also discussing that you should also explore new avenues, and you have to stretch a bit. If you're always in your comfort zone, right, then that individual will not grow. So I think that requires a healthy.
if he said comfort zone, he said we have to stretch a little bit, try to push ourselves or have somebody push us. Yeah.
Yes, and as you said, if you are having nice guidance and you're trying to be humble and service, I'm sure that any individual will be blessed by the Guru and Krishna.
Yes. Yeah, I mean the Guru, the spiritual master. There'll be arrangements if we're sincere, if we're really trying. There'll be arrangements made. Divine arrangements, you could say Krishna's arrangements, the spiritual master arrangements, devoted. There are divine arrangements because devotees are trying to move us along. So there'll be arrangements made for us to stretch ourselves or push ourselves, or we'll be pushed by others. Just like Srila Prabhupada, he was dreaming of his guru, Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur. Prabhupada would only if we analyze how many dreams Prabhupada told us about, it wasn't that many actually. Prabhupada didn't reveal many of his dreams. He revealed some, like there was a party of chanters, and then the non-chanters became chanters. That was his dream. And then a devotee asked him, "Oh, well, did any of the chanters become non-chanters?" And Prabhupada said, "Oh no, how can that be? Because their name is already written on going back to Godhead." So Prabhupada had a few dreams that he revealed, not so many, but one of them was that Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur appeared to him and was encouraging him, take sannyas and go to the West. And at the time, Prabhupada, he told us, he said he was frightened. He said didn't want to do it, wasn't ready, this and that, or felt he wasn't. So, but Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur was pushing him. And then it says that eventually Bhakti Pragyan Keshava Maharaj, Prabhupada's godbrother, whose biography is in that Bhakti Siddhanta Vaibhava. It's interesting when he was a brahmachari at the Math and his service. I think he was a gardener actually. Anyways, he has a musing biography there. So he sannyas godbrother Prabhupada, he urged Prabhupada, please, you have to do this, please do this. And then Prabhupada said that, yes, I was pushed by my spiritual master through my godbrother, Bhakti Pragya Keshava Maharaj. So, all right, Vijay Krishna Prabhu, you have your comment or question? I saw that thing move.
Hare Krishna?
Yes, Hare Krishna, I could hear you.
Yes, Balaram Prabhu, please accept my humble obeisances
Please accept my obeisances.
Srila Prabhupada. Prabhu, before I ask my question, I need to apologize to this Sangha in relation to the mistake I did yesterday, because I said that the prachetas related to the previous verse 41, that the prachetas say that it is possible to fully understand the glories and potencies of Krishna, and that is not correct, because what they're saying is that even Lord Brahma cannot do it. So my apologies.
All right, no problem.
Am I forgiven?
Yes.
Oh, thank you very much. So now my question related to today's verse. Prabhu, the quote is as follows. Quote, "Dear Lord, you have no enemies or friends." And as a brief introduction to my question, I need to bring to you the following Bhagavad Gita as it is verse, and I quote, "I envy no one, nor am I partial to anyone. I am equal to all. But whoever renders service unto me in devotion is a friend, is in me, and I am also a friend to him." End quote. So Prabhu, I'm confused here. The prachetas are saying that Lord Krishna, he has no enemies or friends, but here Lord Krishna himself in the Bhagavad Gita is saying that he has friends. So can you help me in this?
Yes.
To clear this confusion of mine?
Good try. Yeah, thank you. says that that a very charitable person is like a real charitable person. We're not talking about these kind of cheaters, but like a real charitable person, a person who's interested in the welfare of others. They're equally disposed. They want to give as much charity as they can to whoever they can, whenever. Just and let's say they want to help children or something, right? But for their own children, there's a special there's a special place in their heart. There's a special inclination to see that they're taken care of. So similarly, yes, it is said Krishna is equally disposed, but for his devotees, there's a special place. People who are actually accepting, people who have a relationship or trying to reconnect with Krishna, develop their relationship. There's a special place in Krishna's heart for them, reciprocation. There's an example Prabhupada also gives of a father may have many children, right? Father, mother have many children, but there's let's say there's a bunch of older ones, and there's maybe one younger one, but that child's very dependent on the mother and father. So naturally, because the child's so dependent, the parents will give more attention to that child, whereas other children are thinking, okay, well, I kind of take care of myself, or so. So Krishna reciprocates according to the living entity's mentality. But anyway, so that's something about it.
Yes, Balaram Prabhu. Indispensable answer to my question. Hare Krishna.
Jai, Hare Krishna. Well, what lecture are you going to listen to now?
Sorry?
How many lectures do you have lined up to listen to?
Oh my God! Until the end of today, I have. Oh my God! Nanda Sunu Prabhu's Srimad Bhagavatam reading session. After that, I have Jayadvaita Swami, ISKCON, New Jersey, and that's it for today.
Okay, all right, great. Shravanam Kirtanam, Ki Jai.
Yes, I'm trying to connect myself as much as possible and as best as possible. Thank you for your encouragement, Prabhu.
All right, thank you. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
That was a perfect answer, Bala. It was right in line with Prabhupada's purport to the verse. He also quotes, in terms of being equal to everyone, that equality is he loves everyone. And he provides everyone with all the necessities of life. But if they turn their backs towards him, then that's all they're getting. But he becomes so happy when we turn around back toward him, begging for his shelter and service, which is natural. And that's where he also says, it's in the purport, as they surrender me, I can reward accordingly. The reverse of that is, Srila Prabhupada says, my mercy is there for everyone, but if you don't follow my instructions, what can I do?
Yeah, it's amazing. Not like Krishna's like, all right, well, hey, if you're my devotee, then, we'll give you nice rice, nice dal, nice sabji. But, hey, if you're not my devotee, then you're just going to get, nuts and bolts, and whatever, flavorless beans. Somebody wrote me from jail. He's a devotee, and anyways, he used to live here in San Diego. He got in some challenging situation. He's in jail now, but he said, they're giving me vegetarian food, rice and beans, but he's like, oh man, these beans are just, flavorless. He's like, somehow they've extracted like all the flavor from these beans. I don't know how they did it, and he's just he went on like a page about these beans, and he said this rice, it looks like it's so dry, and it looks like, spider webs, and then he goes, so yeah, enjoy the nice sabji and fruit you got, So yeah, it's not like Krishna, okay, you're in jail, you're a bad boy, you're not my devotee then, or you're a bad girl, you're not my devotee then, okay, but yeah, he's off, so much, so despite people's, All right. Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai. Srila Prabhupada ki jai.